Hello and welcome to the Library Commission meeting for Monday, June 5th, 2023. Welcome. My name is Julie Shai-Sobel. I'm a vice chair, and our chair, Mr. Scheer, is not here right now, so I'll start the meeting now. I'd like to do first, from my right to the left, a roll call.
Monica Parmar.
Julie Shai-Sobel.
Bumgarner.
Ann Park.
Aniko Gold.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And also would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask our librarian, Barbara, if she would please lead that for us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Now, I'd like to see if we could move on to an approval of the agenda. Don't we need to vote on that? Like, do we approve the agenda? Can someone? So moved. Can
I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Monica has moved to approve. Do we have a second? Thank you very much, Marlene. All yes or ayes? Any nays? Okay, the agenda is approved. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to approving the minutes of the October 17th, 2022 meeting and the March 20th, 2023 meeting. So if I could have someone make a motion for October.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from October 17th, 2022 and March 20th, 2023.
Do we have a second? All right, I thank you. And can we, by saying aye, everyone who approves both minutes meetings? Aye. Aye. Any nays? None. Meeting minutes are approved. Are we okay to have done that all together? Okay, thank you. Okay. Are there any announcements and introductions? Wonderful. Okay, is there any oral communications, any public comment? Nope, no one. Okay, great. So, does anybody have anything they want to say that's gone on with the library in the last, or the commission?
I would like to welcome Aniko Gold. She wasn't able to be here in person last time, so for anyone that hasn't met her before, she is representing Hidden Hills.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to just bring up very quickly that Monica Parmar over here pulled off a great event just last Saturday for the foundation, which supports our schools here in the Las Virgenes School District. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing, and thank you for everyone for all your support.
And everybody's looking forward to all of the social media postings.
Yes,
so get
definitely
busy.
coming up.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, I think that we have some presentations this evening, and we're going to be recognizing the outgoing 2023 Teen Library Volunteers graduating seniors. I'm going to go ahead and let Barbara take over from here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, when we scheduled this meeting, we didn't realize that it was Senior Award Night at Calabasas High School. So we did invite the seniors to attend, but we hope they can watch it on TV at least. So we have 8 graduating library teen volunteers this year. These students have helped the library for years with a lot of events and programs, such as Summer Reading Program, Fun Fair, Creativity Center, Study Buddies, Writers Club, and Teen Library Council. These graduating seniors are from Oaks Christian, Agora, and Calabasas high schools. They will be going to a number of colleges, including UCLA, CSU Northridge, UC Santa Cruz, and UC Santa Barbara. The seniors are as following: Bella Aston, Sophia Bronstein, Nicholas Dielman, Drake Ekholm, Daniel Fotoval, Astha Israni, Avni Israni, Caden Reich, I guess is how you say it. We want to thank these volunteers for their work to help to make the library the best in the area, and we know that they will do great things on their next adventures. And unfortunately, Sophia Bronstein, who was our great student library commissioner, is not able to attend. I'm guessing she's getting lots of awards at the senior award night. So we will be sending these students, and particularly a special certificate of recognition to Sophia. And besides being a commissioner, she was on the Teen Library Council, organized the National Honor Society to volunteer for the Fun Fair, as well as volunteered for every major library event, including the summer reading program. So, Sophia, if you listen to this later, thank you for your years of volunteer service to the Calabasas Library.
Wonderful. We really appreciate all of the work that they put in at the library. Fantastic. Anybody have any comments on that? Okay, we'll go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our discussion items. And first up is the financial history and budget for library fund and library replacement fund. And I'd like to introduce, I'm assuming, Ron, are you going to take over here?
Yes, I will.
All right, Ron.
Thank you.
Ehlers or Allers? I'm sorry.
Allers.
Allers, Ron Allers. Thank you very much.
So thank you for the invitation to present to you this evening. What you have is you have a few spreadsheets in front of you. The first spreadsheet details the library fund, which is the operations of the whole library, the property taxes that are received for the city of Calabasas, specifically for the library, Hidden Hills contribution, plus other grants and so forth, and then listing out all the different kinds of expenses, whether they be salary and benefits, contractual services, capital outlay, and also building up the book budget and all the materials and so forth. So the first fund, which is the library fund, you currently have about $2.9 million in reserves. That's what you see on the bottom of the first page as far as the fund balance is concerned. And if you look all the way over to the right-hand column, and that's as of the end of April 2023. So we haven't closed the book for May yet. Definitely didn't close it a couple weeks ago when I prepared this report. But we are looking to have about this same amount of reserves by the end of the year, about $2.9 million. And you see all the different revenues and expenses with that. The next fund is the Library Replacement Fund. This fund was established a number of years ago, and what it does is it sets aside money, which there's about $1.2 million, $1.3 million in there, and it just sets aside the money to be used later as major infrastructure in the library needs to be replaced, whether that be the roof. So the library is about 13 years old, 14 years old. The roof it's probably already done with half of its useful life. So as leaks appear in the future, we will obviously fix them, but at some time in the future, the roof will need to be completely redone. The same way with the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system. The same way with interior lighting. We actually have a capital project for the interior lighting of the building, as well as painting the outside and just keeping the building like you would your own home, that you take care of your home, right? We all hate those expenses of, now we have, like I redid my roof, 8 years ago. That was not a fun check to write, or a series of checks, but we all need to do that to keep up to keep rain and wind and critters out of our home, right? and to keep it looking new, and that way it lasts for decades upon decades. So that's what this fund is for. So like I said, there's over $1 million in here, and it's there for whatever can happen. We also know that surprises happen, right? Surprises happen at home, and surprises happen in any building where you may have, water leaks or some kind of drainage issue from the rainwater pipes or whatnot, and then you don't notice it for a couple of years, and all of a sudden you have this major expense, right? The building's in good condition, but it's also, we set aside money for surprises, whatever that may be, whether it be electrical systems, water systems, sewer systems, whatever is in the building. So these are prudent reserves. The last few years have been setting aside $250,000. In next year's budget, we're not setting anything aside because of the loss of the Hidden Hills money, and we didn't budget any capital outlay in next year's budget as well. So next year's budget is, if you reviewed the budget that we did last week with the City Council, you'll see that there's a small deficit in the library fund. We'll take our time. We'll take a year or two or whatever to kind of deal with that loss of revenue with our expense side of the house on what we eliminate or reduce or what have you. So no rush, because we do have these reserves, and it helps buffer that. But we will put in line our expenses to match our revenues. Like I said, in a year or two, we'll probably be matching it up and dealing with those reduced services or reduced contracts or whatever it may be. So I am available to answer any and all questions that you may have about the library fund or the library replacement fund, whatever is your pleasure.
I have a question. As you work on over the next year or 2 years to align the budget with the income, how much input does our librarian have on that?
It's her budget. So she puts forward the expenses and so forth. I mainly do the calculations on all the salary and benefits, because I know what staff she has, and I know when they're going through salary increases or what have you, as well as I know the debt service cost. The debt service cost is quite high for the library fund. It is a very, very nice building. We all recognize that, and so it cost. So we're still paying the mortgage, if you will. That mortgage is be paid off completely in 2041, so we have another 18 and a half years to pay it off. We got a long time to pay it off, but otherwise she's in charge of all the other cost, if you will.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
I have a comment to make, and I just want to refer to what you said earlier, how you're still expecting monies from Hidden Hills, and I just want to add to that. Yes, we'll be sending over more funds in July and August that still apply to fiscal year 22-23. So here you noted $346,988 is an actual amount. On our end, I think it was a little higher. I think as of April 25, 2023, we were about $479,000. But I guess when you balance everything out, it's all going to work out. So there's more monies coming your way the next couple months for this fiscal year. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add? Thank you. Anyone? Monica? Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Okay, can we move on then? And Ms. Lockwood, would you do the librarian report?
Thank you, Commissioners. This report was done at the request of the Calabasas City Council at their meeting of February 22nd, 2023. The council members requested that a report be prepared on the status of the Calabasas Library and examination of library fees. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of discussion. And I think a lot of the commissioners already know this, but just to refresh some of the new members or let you know for the first time. In 2013, the City of Hidden Hills, Calabasas, and the Las Virgenes Unified School District entered into a memorandum of understanding for the City of Hidden Hills to provide funds to Calabasas for supplemental library services, as well as funds to be directed by the district for the purchase of online books and other digital materials. Under the terms of the MOU, Calabasas provided residents of Hidden Hills with library services in the same manner as residents of Calabasas. The MOU was renewed by all parties in 2018 for 5 years. At their meeting on February 13th, 2023, the Hidden Hills City Council instructed their staff not to extend or renew the current MOU. The MOU expires on June 30th, 2023. And Hidden Hills is in the process of selecting a consultant to assist with the future delivery of library services. Until then, Hidden Hills is without reciprocal library services. And did Commissioner Gold, did I understand you? You said you would be sending some money over, or that's just from the previous fiscal year?
Yeah, what I meant is that the way we receive library funds from the county is a little bit delayed. So
okay.
what that means is that, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we get an estimate from the county about how much library funds we'll be getting throughout the year. And for actually this fiscal year, the estimated amount, 2020-23, is $554,374. Okay. So it's an estimate, but it's usually within 1 or 2% of the actual amount. And the way those monies are being paid is we get some of that amount in July and August, but it will still apply to this current fiscal year we are in. So to our, according to our accounting, we have given Calabasas $479,465 as of April 25th, 2023. And I think based on this estimate that we have from the county, you can expect, an additional $70,000. But we don't know until we actually get those payments from the county. And we expect those to come in either this month or next month or the latest August. So by the end of August, we'll be in possession of all those funds that we're expecting for this fiscal year.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you very much. I know there was some concern from the City Council that the withdrawal of the funds would impact the library in a negative manner. So they had asked me to prepare a report and a PowerPoint to talk about those things. So I'll go through the PowerPoint. I'm going to go through the first part relatively quickly because I think many of you have already seen our annual report from last year. And many of these are the same numbers. And I think you know a lot of our programs, so I'll go through that part quickly. This is Calabasas left the LA County Library System in 1998 and opened up a small storefront under the management of Library Systems and Services. As the library grew, we moved 2 times into rental spaces. In 2007, the city took over the management of the library. The library moved into its current space in the Civic Center in 2008. During COVID, the library building was closed, but staff continued to work both in the building and remotely to answer questions and check out materials. In April 2021, the building reopened to the public. These are some current figures. Just look at that. Almost 24,000 adults have active library cards, 7,000 children have active library cards, and we give out 16,842 LVUSD digital cards. And they're issued to the to the students, staff, and teachers. These students can use these e-cards to access the digital materials and databases. LVU USD borrows can have both digital and full use cards. That's why I don't have a total, because one's a subset of the other. These were fabulous during COVID because LVUSD students can continue their schoolwork. They used all the databases. They used Hoopla to look at, a teacher could assign a movie on World War II to watch, and the students could watch it at home and then do a report. This is our collection. I won't go through everything, but you can see that we do have a number of, we've been beefing up our ebook and e-audio collections. The interesting thing about a lot of the ebooks, they disappear after 2 years. They're very expensive, and you can either use them by use, 26 uses per year, or 2 years. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we do have Gale ebooks that are perpetual for students, which is a good thing. The digital, one of the good things you'll see is the streaming services. We have 35,000 movies you can watch, which is a lot. And it's also, I often forget this, but Hoopla, which is our streaming service, also has ebooks. We usually use the cloud library, but Hoopla, the other day I was looking for something. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize. And of course they have music too that you can check out. Circulation. Quickly, you can just see that our electronic and database use is even more now than our physical items. So many people got used to using our digital items during COVID. Programs, I think you know about most of our programs. We have the story times, craft programs. Pause for Reading is where the dog comes in once a month and kids could read to the dog. The teens help us with all these, I talked about it before. Adults attend book clubs, film fanatics, author visits, and lectures. We just recently did a Zoom on about genealogy. We have genealogy databases. The summer reading program has events for children, teens, and adults, and I'll talk more about that later. Just an example of our programs, how even during COVID, we had a lot of online programs, or we had those grab and go type of programs where we just put bags together and our teens handed it out to people driving up in cars sometimes. And now we're doing a lot more in-house, which is nice. These are just things, all free with the library card. There's all these cool programs we have. I talked about this at City Council. The state park passes, California state park passes, do you all know about that? I think I talked about that already. But it's summer, and so everybody should check those out. We have 14 now. So you could take those for 2 weeks. You could go on a trip up north and go to all the state parks and park for free. Around here, Malibu Creek State Park, Malibu Lagoon, parking is free. And this Digital Navigators is a new program from the state where they help low-income residents get discounted computer services and internet service. So look at our website. All these things are up there. We have lots of classes for all ages. This is our wonderful library staff, which I thank them. A lot of our support is provided by Library Commission, Friends of the Library, and teen volunteers that I already talked about. This is our actual library budget from last year, and I presented this in my annual report previously. And I want to talk about the next budget. My numbers are a little different than Ron's, and I want to point out that I want to look here for a minute. The, where is it? Oh, there we go. $250,000 for the digital collections. We, in anticipation, well, I just want to start by saying this. During COVID, the school librarian had access to the ordering component of the digital materials, but she really did not do all that much. I think there was a lot of things going on in COVID, and she was relying on us. But what we decided to do to have less impact on the school district was to order more of those perpetual ebooks for students at this time, so that they would not feel, the impact so much of the loss of the Hidden Hills money. So we did that. We ordered a lot more, so we would always have those. We also tried to, pay. They were due now, but pay on time for a lot of the platforms, the digital platforms. So I know in the past, especially when we only spent $187,000 in the previous year budget for digital materials, a lot of it was, we weren't really in touch with the school librarian. And that was she was supposed to be ordering those things. So we decided just to take it upon ourselves to order that, so we'd have more for the students. And Ron was talking about capital outlay, how we're going to reduce that this year. We're going to reduce it from $250,000 to $0 for this year. If we have to do capital projects, we do have money in our capital O&M. And that's what we pay for the maintenance of the building. So in case there's an emergency, I think that will cover it. Then let me go to the next slide. So our current library fees, we pay, non-residents pay $18 an hour for use of the study rooms. And residents were considered Calabasas residents, Hidden Hills residents, and all the LVUSD digital card holders. Interlibrary loans, $2 for residents and $10 for non-residents. Proctoring, $35 per test. You could see the rest of these here. So some of the staff recommendations are to eliminate several databases, and those are particular to the school district curriculum. So the things like middle school and context, social science for elementary school students, that type of thing. We still will have databases that are for the general population, and of course students can use those. The Gale One File, a lot of those were subsets that we paid extra for because they were more friendly for the younger students. We will probably not buy any more of those curriculum ebooks. And we are thinking about not eliminating the LVUSD digital cards, because that actually takes up a lot of staff time. We have to have IT. We haven't had an IT person devoted to the library in a year. We have our wonderful IT department at City Hall that comes over and helps us, but it takes a lot of their time. So we anticipate we can have a cost savings of about $50,000 with that. The City Council had asked us to look at charging a fee for a library card for non-residents in jurisdictions without free reciprocal library borrowing privileges. And a reciprocal library is defined as a library with physical and digital collections and a full-time MLS librarian. And then the recommendation is to increase current all non-resident fees for study rooms to $20 an hour, proctoring $40 a test, and add a $50 fee for use of the multi-purpose room for all non-residents. We have a lot of demand for the multi-purpose room, and a lot of the people that ask for it are not from Calabasas. So we think we can make up some revenue there. It's not going to be a lot, but Community Services does charge for the use of the multi-purpose room and the Founders Hall, and they charge a lot more than $50. They charge insurance, they charge catering fees. Our $50 would just be for the use of the room. We really don't provide staff time. We open and close the room. And just our future library staff was able to pivot and evolve during COVID. We will continue to adapt to changing demands and new delivery systems. And our strong sense of purpose helps us stay true to our goals, delivering excellent customer service and relevant resources to the community, being mindful of equity, diversity, and inclusion. So that is the PowerPoint. And I'm going to go back to the original report. You could see the fiscal impact there. We anticipate we'll have a shortfall of about $45,546 for the next fiscal year. Some of the staff costs that Ron had anticipated in his budget, we haven't had an IT person. Now, I'm hoping we do get one. So right now it's going to be a little lower or maybe the same as what Ron said. And property tax, we just found out we might get more property tax, so I'm thinking Calabasas from Hidden Hills, so I'm hoping Calabasas gets more property tax too for that. So the requested action is to increase non-resident fees for study rooms to $20 an hour and proctoring fees to $40 per test, and add a $50 fee for the use of the multi-purpose room for non-residents, and make a recommendation to City Council to institute a library card fee for non-residents in jurisdictions without free reciprocal library borrowing privileges. They had asked me to come back to them at some point. So if you'd like to make a recommendation on that, I can bring it to the City Council. And that's the end of my report.
Oh, good. Okay, so can you rephrase that for me? If we would like to make a recommendation on to this for you to take back to City Council.
To take to City Council, yes. To institute a library card fee for non-residents in jurisdictions without free reciprocal library borrowing privileges.
Go.
I was wondering if the librarians or other staff at the Las Virgenes School District have had any conversation with you about the databases, curriculum, ebooks, and so forth, so that they might be able to pick some of those things up in their own budget? Do they know that we're dropping them, in other words?
Well,
Or that
they
we're thinking
know,
we're
they
dropping
attended the Hidden Hills council meeting. They do know about the loss of funds from the MOU, but they have not communicated with me. They have not contacted me.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that the databases, curriculum, ebooks, and so forth, that we're not going to be funding, that they knew, that the school
Yeah.
district knew that in case they wanted to pick it up themselves.
Yes, I will definitely get in touch with them after this meeting.
After the recommendation.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo the same thing. As far as LVUSD is concerned, I'm sure that there's something that they would like to probably participate in, but probably haven't even thought of this yet because there's so many other things going on right now.
Right.
So if we could facilitate a conversation
yeah,
of some sort, I
definitely.
think it definitely would be beneficial. I just know from having kids in the district for so many years that these services are appreciated, especially at the high school level, when children are, doing their AP program and participating in a lot of the classes that are not necessarily offered at every school site, so every library doesn't have access to things. We're really fortunate to have some of the stuff that you have provided, and I've always heard very positive feedback from the students, especially, you know, Calabasas High and Agora High School. So I think whatever we could do to kind of facilitate some sort of conversation would be great for that. And then the other comment that I had was, I myself have used the facilities at City Hall and in the library. I've also used the Senior Center for all the other organizations that I'm part of. And honestly, $50 to me seems like nothing. I mean, I probably would say you could probably even increase that because there is such a demand. Whether it's, you know, non-residents or organizations or even student services that are in and around the valley, there aren't facilities, especially post-COVID, there are not available facilities to organizations to use. Yeah. And because we have kind of set that example by using, you know, the city's services, and our LVUSD services equally the same thing, they actually do get called upon a lot, and they have increased some of their fees. So just from a personal level, I can tell you that $50 is nothing. Whether it's staffed or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that that's a beautiful space. I've used it myself, and you have, you know, enough space there to have students and parents when they're participating in organizations. So that's the only recommendation I would have for that, is that, you know, you might want to revisit the amount, because I'm pretty sure that at higher amount would still be perfectly fine.
If you'd like to recommend an amount, we can do that.
So just looking at the space when we used it versus some of the other spaces, I would say $120 to $125, $50, $150 is more than reasonable. School MPRs are utilized, school classrooms are utilized. Founders Hall is beautiful and a very large space, but people do fold it and use smaller amounts of space there. The Senior Center, the same thing. They have rooms upstairs that are probably comparable to the MPR size. So anywhere between $125 to $150, I think, would not be a problem, especially considering the demand right now. I was having a hard time booking my meetings for the entire year, and I really appreciated the fact that last minute I was able to use the MPR. So if it's beneficial to our library system, why not?
Okay, thank you.
I concur with that, because finding spaces that people can use can be very expensive, and $50 is nothing. And I think we could easily charge $150, and people would be glad to pay that for the use of it. And so that's a recommendation. The one thing I'm not clear on is, if we're charging a fee for a library card for the non-residents in jurisdictions without free reciprocal library borrowing privileges, what do you think that how much would that fee be, and what is it really going to do to impact the budget? And is it going to take too much actual staff time to administrate it?
It won't take that much staff time. So how reciprocal library privileges work, if anyone from, let's say, LA County Library System or LAPL or Santa Monica can come to our library and get a card for free, as long as we can get a card at their libraries for free. And I would hate to get rid of that, because county has so many more resources than we do. It's just the second largest library system in the country. And there are several libraries throughout in California. Lassen County charges $28. Cerritos charges $150 per card. If we have about 960 patrons, active patrons from Hidden Hills. So if you want to do $100 a card, you could, you know, it would. I doubt everyone from Hidden Hills is gonna get a library card and pay for it. But if you can anticipate maybe 200, 250, maybe even 500 at $100, $50,000, it would make up the shortfall.
So just to comment on that again, I think just looking at some of the businesses in Barnes & Noble, everything has a membership now, and you do pay for it. So, and people usually pay because they are getting services like a book club, or their kids having a reading unit to be able to go to, or somebody doing a story time, which is everything that you provide as well. And I think personally you provide it in a much beautiful setting, because it's almost relatively new compared to some of these locations. So I'm not definitely disagreeing with having a fee and increasing the fee at all. Probably just the amount is something that we just have to kind of see how much you think it would be utilized and how many people would be interested. But if that helps, again, I think anything that we can do to make sure that you have the amounts that you need to be able to provide the services that you have been providing, and then anything that we can do to promote it. So people realize that the library is active and functioning, and there's all of these amazing programs that you have for everyone to use.
All right, thank you.
If I may
Sure.
make a comment, Barbara, thank you so much for the presentation, and I just wanted to make a comment about the library cards that Hidden Hills residents have. You mentioned 960. Well, I remember from our council meeting that last fiscal year, I think there was only 33 active users from Hidden Hills that physically checked books out of the library. So
That did not include digital users.
yeah, but
And-
then you don't keep track, do
Right,
you?
I don't
Do
keep
you?
track.
That's the thing. So even if you charge Hidden Hills residents, I just want to kind of, put that information out there that last year it was only 33 residents who physically came to the library and checked something out. So
But
it's
as you recall, last
yeah.
year, we were still affected by COVID. And on the, you can see from the stats before that people are checking out more digital items than physical. So it is
Yeah.
hard
Well,
to
I think
say.
it's obviously a fee to use the library, right? So that it's a no-brainer to me. It's just how much is the fee, and over time you determine whether or not it works or not at that price level. I don't know who's going to set that level. Is that you or?
No, I'm asking the commission
Oh.
to decide. I had recommended initially $100, but if you think that's too much, I don't know if the city of Hidden Hills might pay for the residents for a library card. Instead of providing property tax money, maybe that would be something to do.
Oh, that's interesting thought.
How many, when you say non-residents, how many people not Hidden Hills, but outside of Calabasas, West Hills, Woodland Hills, in the surrounding area? Because we do have so many LVUSD families that are coming, and a lot
Yeah.
of time grandparents and parents and things like that are using. Do we have a percentage of how many other non-residents we have?
I want to say it's almost close to 40% are non-residents.
Oh, wow.
60% Calabasas, 40% non-residents. But a lot of those are Agora, from the schools in Agora. The students from Viewpoint use our library. A lot of the private schools. A lot of students from El Camino will come over. So it's basically the surrounding areas, Woodland Hills, Agora, Westlake Village.
So personally, I would think anywhere from $75 to $100 makes sense. I mean, they're taking the time and effort to come here. Obviously, the programs and facilities that you're providing, they're willing to use them and want to use them, probably surpassing some other facilities that they have on the way. So if they appreciate the services, I'm sure they're willing to, take, like I said, I mean, everyone's charging fees now for all kinds of things. So the cost of everything has gone up. It's a beautiful facility, so definitely I could see people supporting it.
Anybody else?
So that would be a one-time fee, right? So you
It'd
get
be
the-
per year.
Oh, it'd be per year. Oh, okay.
Well,
I mean-
it really depends on what your recommendation is. Right now, we give a library card for 5 years. But it's it's easy. We just do a record set and change the residents. We could put everyone in a record set and change them to that fee.
Okay, I'm surprised I didn't realize 40% were non-Calabasas. That's a pretty big
I might be
number.
a little wrong on that.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, we do get a lot of Woodland Hills patrons who say they like our library better than the Woodland Hills Library.
I think it would help to know, about how many users that is, and so we can get an idea of the
Yeah.
estimated
Well,
revenue.
I don't necessarily recommend charging Woodland Hills or the 40%, because we use their library in a reciprocal manner.
Right.
So we're talking only about non-reciprocal.
You're right.
Got it.
Which
Okay.
is less than what percentage is that about?
What percentage is that? What's
I think we were only
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
Hidden Hills.
What?
You know, I think we're only talking about Hidden Hills.
Well, also the Lassen County and Cerritos, but really, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,000, let's say 1,000 out of, what did I say? What did we have, like 40,000? So really a very small percentage. So,
I would recommend that your
32,000.
recommendation of $100 be what we start with. And if that doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
okay,
But in order to use the facilities and access the services here, then that's, I think, it is a beautiful facility and the services are top-notch, and it's just makes sense to me that there's gotta be a push and a pull here on this tug of war, and that makes sense. I would recommend that, and I don't know if anybody else agrees.
No, I agree 100%.
Okay.
I'm just talking from other experiences with other organizations. There's all kinds of fees and charges for almost everything. And definitely with that push and pull, I think, let's try it and see how it works. Probably have some backing for it as far as advertising it so that people know that we do have that a possibility. There's a huge shift in population. I keep saying that to everyone and anyone that I see since the pandemic. There's a huge influx of people that have moved into this surrounding community. They don't even know what services we offer. So it would be amazing to be able to get into maybe the Acorn or have an article in Calabasas Style, or just be able to pump more information out onto social media so people even realize that all of these amazing things that we know because we raised our kids here exist, and they are available to the community. Because I constantly hear people saying, oh, I didn't know you had, like, where did you get this? How did you find out about this? It's all here. We just have the access because we're school parents and we know, but somebody coming, into the community doesn't. So that might actually help. And like you said, if there's other communities elsewhere that these people are coming from and they did have a fee, I don't see why they would have any problem paying a little bit more.
okay, thank you.
I would like to know, and it would take a little research on your part, but who are these jurisdictions? We're talking about the jurisdictions without free reciprocal library borrowing privileges. And in that article, it might be nice to list who they are so that people know. I live in the Avalon Apartments, and the condos on Las Virgenes. There's I bet there's thousands of people between Avalon and the freeway that are not family people. They're college students, they're young family or very young married people, and they're very older people. They probably don't even know there's a Calabasas library. And again, that's where we can bring in new people at the same time we're having to charge some of the others.
I have neighbors that don't know we have a library. When I tell them I'm the librarian. We have a library?
So I would say that from our discussion so far that, and I agree, I'm concerned that we're not having a discussion with LVUSD about which things would benefit them most or which they could do without. And I would like to see that happen if that's possible.
Okay.
And that I think, float the idea to the council of $100 for that, the non-reciprocal users.
Now, the databases for LVUSD, they were paid with money from Hidden Hills. So we don't have that money anymore. So that's why I was
But
talking
you're-
about eliminating
I
those.
guess what I'm asking is, are you in what I
Yes.
was thinking that Monica was asking is, have we had discussions with LVUSD librarians to see where we can trim that's not going to affect them? And
Yes.
if they don't think it's important, then why would we continue paying for it?
Right, okay.
I guess that's my,
I think if it's important to them, they're going to have to pick up the cost.
okay.
I'd just
Okay,
like
but
to make a
I just think
comment.
that's a discussion that should be had, though, because I feel like there's probably a lot of information from that side that's probably beneficial to us here. They have been talking and there has been discussion, so why not just open up that line of communication? Maybe no one's had the time to do it,
Yeah.
but I think it's beneficial to our kids, which is the most important thing, and the population here in the city. So however we manage to make it happen, if we can, it would be great.
Okay, and I will contact Tina tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody knows here, there's almost 3,300 students, Calabasas students attending LVUSD, so it's a large number, and about 129 from Hidden Hills.
Any other discussion on that? Anything else, Barbara?
What about the raising the other fees, the the study rooms
Oh,
and the
yeah.
proctoring?
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
I'd
Okay.
be curious to know how much additional revenue these increases would bring. So here we're raising from $18 to $20 an hour, which I think is very nominal, but it'd be interesting to know how many hours per year. That would help us understand how much this is going to help us. But I think these raises are not very significant. I think they're.
I agree.
And I don't think it's going to bring in a ton of revenue.
Is there a benchmark that you're using for these increases? Like, is there something that you use as an example?
At the $45,000
Okay.
deficit is what we're trying to achieve.
So
too.
like I said, the NPR for sure, but I mean, I agree with Ann, when it comes to the study rooms or the testing fees also. But definitely for the NPR usage, I mean, facility fees are through the roof right now. So like, I'm recommending the 125 to 150, but honestly, you could probably even charge more. It is a very good size space, and you can put quite a few people in it. And instead of having to sit at a restaurant with all kinds of noise and all kinds of things going on, and sometimes they charge you also for that, this would be a great option for people.
Okay.
And I agree, the other fees, the nominal, I mean, from 18 to 20, it just depends who is
Just
it
rounding
impacting.
up,
It's-
really.
And they're right. I think it's fine. It could go to 25. It's easily. And, you're trying to make up that 45,000 a year shortfall at the moment, so.
Well, that's a big jump, so.
Do you want to
Okay.
vote on the
Yeah.
request for these recommendations, or do we want to postpone that vote until we've had the discussion?
When do you need to get back to the council on your recommendation?
I don't have a timeline, but we need to do it before July 1st.
Okay, then we need to do it now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to set forth an idea, and I'm going to see if I can get back to it. Hang on. I want to get back to that page of your recommendations. Okay, right here. Okay.
Hold on.
So you're saying eliminate several databases, curriculum ebooks, and LVUSD digital cards, and that'll save $50,000. Can we hold off on recommending that until you've talked to LVUSD, or is that something you need to do right now?
Or can we just at least separate it from the other?
we can
You
wait
can
on
separate that one?
Yeah.
And come back to it after you've talked to them?
that. Yes.
Charge a fee for a library card for the non-reciprocals, fine. Increase the current non-resident fees for study rooms, I would say to $25 an hour for non-residents, $40 a test, fine for the proctoring, and the $150 fee for the NPR. That's where I would start. Do I have anyone who would like to make a motion on that, or did I make a motion on that? Go ahead.
I definitely move to agree with the motion that you just made.
Do we have anyone to second it? I know, I'm not quite sure where we're
I'm
at.
happy to second that.
Fantastic. Barbara, do you have that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, how would you like to proceed on the first bullet point after you talk? Because you need to have this recommendation back July 1st?
For the databases?
Yeah, that's,
We can, I don't need to do that before July 1st,
okay,
probably.
okay.
We don't do the LVUSD cards until the fall. And again, we just bought a bunch of the curriculum ebooks, so that should sustain them for a while. And the databases, I can talk to them about that, and I can bring that up at the next commission meeting.
Okay. Now, I think I'm mirroring Monica's and everyone else's concern that, yes, they have their own library budget, right? But if whatever we can do for no harm, right, going forward, instead of just going, slashing it right now,
Yeah.
why don't we ask, at least say,
Okay.
this is what we're thinking?
And ask them for their recommendation of what
And say,
they'd
hey,
like
is
to-
that, does that,
Yes, that makes sense. And, this is for next year's budget, so we definitely have time for that.
okay, thank you.
Did
Are
you
we
wanna
done with
vote
this
on
item?
the first
Pardon?
motion? Were you going to vote on the first motion or the raising the fees?
Thank you. All right, on the first motion, I'm so sorry. Everyone who's aye?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any nays? No, okay, motion carries, thank you. Are we good now on that
Yes.
line item?
Thank you.
Thank you. Student commissioner,
Oh, wait.
oh, sorry,
What about the non-resident fees? Did you?
I included that in there,
Oh, I'm sorry.
didn't I? I
Did
thought
you?
I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Sorry, missed that. Okay, so that's it for that.
Okay,
All right.
and I'm a little bit at a loss on item 3, under discussion items for student commissioner.
Oh,
Are we,
yeah. Okay.
what are we doing with that? Do we have any
Yes, you-
applications?
No, what you have to do is form a subcommittee
Oh, okay, we need a subcommittee. Thank you.
to interview. It's usually 2 commissioners and myself, and we have 2 applications so far.
Oh, okay. And when does the application close?
I don't think, do they have a timeline?
But when would their term begin? At the beginning of the school year?
We just
Okay.
have to do it before October.
Okay, so we need to have a committee, and I'd like to ask for commissioners who are interested in being on that committee to speak now. Was that it? Did you put your in? Oh, okay. Okay. So, Marlene, you're interested in being on this committee? And Anne?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to move that Marlene and Anne be on the subcommittee for the student commissioners. Anybody want a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. All ayes? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries.
Great.
Thank you.
And did we not have a staff report for that, for the student commissioner? Oh, okay.
Just going to write this down, hang on. Okay. Now, I think we can move on to city librarian's report.
All right, thank you. I'm going to talk about summer reading because it's our big thing coming up. The city, here we go. Calabasas Library's online summer reading program, Find Your Voice, is from June 27th through July 30th. And patrons can sign up through the summer and can also sign up after June 20th from home with a link on the library's website at www.calabasaslibrary.org. And what that is you sign up and you track the books you read. You put them in, it keeps track for you. You can write little reviews, and then they have gift cards at the end that you get for reading so many books. You earn points to be entered for drawing for gift cards throughout the summers for all ages. And then we also have live programs, which we have every year, and we're having those for children and adults and teens. And the children's events are listed on the flyers you have attached on the agenda. This includes the Alley Cats, which will be at the library on June 28th at 4 p.m. That actually is for all ages. And I think I talked about this last time. It's a free program from the Music Center. And I chose the Alley Cats. It's a doo-wop group. I thought it'd be fun for kids and adults. So you can sign up on the library website. There, if you go to the front page, you click on it and you put your name. Let's see, what else? Adult programming will begin on July 11th, and more information is coming soon for that. And we have check the library's Facebook page, Twitter, and the Library Academy page for more information as well. The summer reading program is sponsored by the Friends of the Calabasas Library. And Carolyn wrote this up for me, but I don't think she mentioned that. We still have the teens that sit outside and sign all the children up. And then the kids have their log, and each week they put a little ticket in, and we pull it out, and they get a choice of gift cards. And that's all done with the Friends money.
Wow.
June 27th. That's the first day. It goes for 6 weeks until just the beginning of August, and then we finish. We are not having story time this summer because we have so many kids events. We have Miss Wendy for preschoolers. We're still going to have the dogs and Writers Club, those type of things that we usually have. And do you have any questions? Any more on that summer? You could look on the back of your agenda. There are all the flyers. And
Right.
Could
all.
you explain the dogs program a little bit? Where do the dogs come from?
They're
just think that's,
service
like,
dogs.
adorable.
They're service dogs that are trained.
Oh, nice.
And they, children are often shy about reading out loud in class. And it helps them practice their literacy because, the dogs don't judge. The dogs listen. They're listening so intently, they're often closing their eyes and concentrating what the children are saying.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
very sweet. And then we have studying for high school students in the multipurpose room from 2:30 to 5:30 on June 7th, June 8th, and June 13th. The students can bring their own food and drink in the multipurpose room. And we usually provide some snacks too. We have some sodas and candy and things like that for the kids. So if they need some quiet, they can sit in there and study. I believe that's all I have to say. You can read the rest on your programming. So I think,
Great. Anybody have any questions?
is
Other
it.
questions? Monica?
I have
Marlene?
a comment.
Okay.
Our visitor participated last year in the summer reading program, pre-reading. At that point, it was grandma reading to her, and you just watched her, I think, as she read a book, which a year later she's able to do. And it was pretty
Wonderful.
successful. We also took advantage of the zip book process this year with Barbara's help. Adelaide found one book and read it and really liked it and wanted the next one. We didn't have the next one. And there were actually 3 in the series, so now we have all 3. The Boggin, yes.
Huh.
I applied for the new zip book grant cycle, so I should hear soon.
Yeah, I just think that it's a wonderful opportunity for children, especially as they start their reading habits.
Wonderful.
And so, again, just echoing what we were talking about with LVUSD, I definitely think that once the communication starts, again, obviously with the pandemic, everything's kind of closed down. But I do remember when my kids were younger, a lot of these flyers that you produce coming out in our newsletters for the elementary schools. And now, for several years, actually, we have pretty good newsletters that come out in the middle school and the high school on a weekly basis every Sunday as well. So that's definitely something because, just looking at this programming, it's amazing that we can manage to put all of this together for the community's kids. But if we got all of the district kids involved, I just think the buzz would be amazing for the library as well.
We do send it to Peach Jar
Oh,
for
okay.
them to publish at
Yeah,
the school
so
district.
Peach Jar is one outlet that some of the schools utilize, but definitely those newsletters that they have weekly, parents are kind of glued to them because they do have a lot of information. And just as somebody who does so many events for the district, I can tell you that's probably, that and social media are the way that I get people to come to my events. So I'm just looking at how beautiful some, especially the one with the dogs, is, and it would definitely attract a lot of the parents' eyes and grandparents' eyes when they see that. A great opportunity for them to spend some time with the kids, at some of these events as opposed to atypical video games and things like that. So I think everyone would really welcome it.
Monica, you're saying they actually have like actual paper flyers at their
No,
newsletters?
it's an online newsletter,
okay.
but it looks exactly like, it looks like this.
Okay.
The production quality has become so good over the years. and you can save it, you can stick it, in one of your Google Drives and have it for the entire week. Students are encouraged to also be signed up for all of that, so students also get the information. So definitely at the high school level, kids would know that there's a tutoring opportunity and a study opportunity that maybe they didn't know they had, and they've got 3 siblings that are bothering them when they're studying and they'd rather be at the library. We are also fortunate or unfortunate to have a lot of drivers that are teens, so they would probably love to be able to come to the library and get away from some of the noise, everywhere else. So it would be great if we could get these into the newsletters.
Now, I would have to send it to each individual school?
No, actually, Tina would be able to facilitate that for you.
Who would do it?
Tina Johnson would
Oh,
be
sure.
able to. Oh,
Okay.
yes, for sure. I'm sure this
All
is
right.
something that they would welcome. Again, with time, everything has kind of changed, and just to get back into the gears like we used to before. I know when my kids were at Bay Laurel, we always looked forward to all the events at the library, and now it seems like you have so many more, so it would be
And
great.
I think Tina did contact me recently about the summer reading events, and I
Mhm.
believe Carolyn sent those to her.
Okay. Yeah,
So
no,
I'll
I'm
check.
just,
I'll double check though.
your flyers are so cute. I mean, it's something that.
And you know
after-
who did a lot of the flyers? It was Sophia.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Did
sure.
this.
I'm sure, yeah.
I know we
she's
have,
great.
the Carrie,
Yeah.
who's
no,
our
no,
children's
definitely.
librarian, does a lot of cute things. But Sophia also did a lot of the social media.
Mhm.
Okay, are we ready to move on to future agenda items? Okay. I'm trying to remember if I can suggest a future agenda item. Yes? Okay, so I want to make sure that we do have on the agenda the feedback you get from LVUSD when you talk to them, and also whether Tina was able to get these flyers into all the online newsletters for the schools. Other future agenda items? Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
And when would you like to meet next? By law, you're supposed to meet every month, but next month is July. I don't know if you would like to meet, or you'd like to postpone till August, or what's the desire of the?
I'm available to meet, but it's up to everyone else.
Yeah, so maybe August, just so that
Okay,
closer to the school season too, and you'd probably have
So August.
agenda.
Perfect.
Okay. So we could cancel next month's and then
Okay.
do August.
that's great.
And we'll check on what days, we can either have it usually the first Monday or the third Monday. Is that correct? And what was the first Monday? Either August 7th or the 21st? Okay. We'll find out. We'll send an email.
I'm thinking, LVUSD, doesn't it start late August?
Yes.
So the 21st might conflict with people who are parents. Maybe we should do it earlier in the month, but that I know conflicts with summer plans.
August 7th?
I'm not, I'm not, I'm not beholden to this school calendar anymore. I'm free. But for others that are, I want to be considerate.
LVUSD, I think, starts August 23rd on a Wednesday, so that would be the Monday before.
It would be really difficult because there's a lot of things to do in those days. So I would say the 7th.
7th.
Does anyone agree?
I personally think the Monday before would be easier, because vacations would be done for everyone.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong because I'm envisioning.
Yeah, I'm thinking the 21st, we've already done
Really?
our panicking, we've done everything, and now we're just.
There's no longer those, take the elementary kid to school 2 days before it starts. You don't do that anymore?
No, our kids are bigger too, yeah, our
And
kids are older.
It's not going to affect you? Okay, then that's the 21st. Great,
Thank you.
perfect. I think the subcommittee can talk amongst themselves and decide when to meet. So that's Barbara and Marlene and Ann, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if you guys could make sure that you meet and move forward with that, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Just a comment that I will be at a Mystery Writers Conference on the 21st
Of,
August. That was the day we were looking at,
yeah,
wasn't
oh,
it?
yes.
Yeah, so I don't want to put you in a position where there's no quorum.
Oh. Would July be better to meet in July, or is everyone traveling?
I'm out all of
She's out
July.
all of July.
What
What
would happen if we went to the next week in August? Is that smack in the middle of parent rush?
That might be registration week,
Yeah,
the week
that's what I was
before. We can
wondering.
do August 7th unless anyone knows that they won't be able to make it. August 7th?
I can do August 7th.
Okay,
Okay.
August 7th. Perfect. Okay. Anyone have anything else that they need to discuss tonight? Okay, great. Then I would like to make or have someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make the motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
And I will second it.
Thank you, meeting adjourned.